look. On my cue, Ben, you overtake until the flat part, okay? Not yet. On my cue, wait for my cue. Okay, best effort, 15%. Go. White line on the left. Hey man! Hey boys, Happy New Year! How are you? Tired. Come on, a little bit more. I just needed to capture this, come on. I'm just gonna shout at you. Okay man.
But one thing I learned about through this process is that you need to be very patient. Because cycling is very mechanical. You need to put in a lot of effort. You need to put in a lot of sit time. And I always tell people, don't expect that you cycle once a week and you'll be better and you can push a lot of power. It's not going to happen. So I didn't want that to do it. So after cycling for about a year or so, I get really serious, and that is where I start to invest in custom bikes. And I know custom bikes are something that works for me, and so in fact I ordered a lot of custom bike based on the geometry that was given. After acquiring the first two custom bike and I ride it, I love the geometry, but I just feel that I think I can improve even more. And also I'm a very data guy, so I will never ride without a computer on my bike. So I set up my computer. So I'm a data guy. So on the power, even on the crank and everything. So I experiment. So I like to do experiment myself. And that is one thing about cycling. When I got my first bike fit, I was told that okay, I need a 155 crank. So I said okay, I didn't want to go against what is being recommended, advice. So I started at 155. And after a month or two, I said no, definitely not a 155. Okay, so I said okay, let's do it to 165. So I went for 165, which is better, and I'll be cycling it for about 6 months on 165. But I know I can go some more, because it's just not developing a lot of thought for myself. So I said, okay, I want a second opinion, and that is where I say, okay, this time around I want to try a different route. I let the computer do the bike fit for me. So I decided to engage ID match. So I put myself on the ID match, and the computer came out, okay, optimum is 170, and that is where I say, okay, this is something different, 170 different.
Time.
Yes, real time analyze of what you are pedaling, your stroke, your power output and everything. So it is something very amazing. So when we finish the ID match, I compare my data. There are quite a substantial of difference, especially on the crank length itself. So optimum crank length for me is 170. The saddle according to the computer, and the saddle height and more or less is the same as my first bike fit, but the reach is slightly different. So I am embarked on the second phase of my bike fit, and I based that on what the ID match was. I find that was even better. This time now I could put more power, because basically the crank is longer. You can put more power, and the cadence is very different. As you know, when you increase your cadence, the length, you actually slow down. So I'm 55 years old, so I cannot be cycling like someone that is 20 something at a high cadence about 80 to 100 RPM. There's no way I can do that. I will burn out very fast. It's through one exercise. I remember I met with Coach Lian, and whatever he spoke to me, it makes a lot of sense. And that is where all my data finding and all my personal feeling that I have been through for the extra 1 year matches what you said.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. And that is where I start to embark on even more experiment, like finding the correct or the optimum ratio. I always tell people it doesn't mean that if it's someone cycling on a 50-34, 50-34 is good for me, because everyone is different, because you need to find the sweet spot. Like now I know my cadence is somewhere around 70. It's not high, but I need to find the cassette and the chain just to match my cadence, and you will feel super comfortable. You can go extra long.
Go forever.
You can like go on forever. Even you do 150 kilometer by yourself, you don't feel any problem. You don't feel aches, and the best part is you'll have a very fast recovery. It's like you can ride continuously every day. I've tried like 1 week. I ride straight every day. My recovery is every day. I just ride. I can do 40, 100 clicks every day. No problem. Yes, just a simple advice. Yeah. So you just have to cycle and be intelligent about it. You need to absorb the information, siphon it up for yourself, and see what works. Now I'm entering, I would say, a phase 3. So this is phase 3 now, which I want to do this even deeper experiment. Is how can I further improve my geometry from ID match with the biomechanic that Coach Lian has, preached about. I want to see how much of a difference can I get, and how much can I further improve my cycling journey. And to me, it's very important, because I think there's a lot of cyclists out there who are just like me, always thinking that whether should they spend the extra money to go for a bike fit. And for me, my advice is, if you are very serious, you should get a bike fit as early as possible, and not wait until you...
Or even before you buy
Yeah,
a bike.
yeah. Even when you buy a bike, you must know what your size is, because based on whatever the manufacturer tells you, is not what you are getting. For example, I'm certain brand tells me I'm a size 48. I buy a size 48, and I find myself that I'm actually at my size 45, because of the stem and how comfortable you make. So you just imagine if someone are clever enough to tell you, no, on the spec you are 48, but based on these factors you are a size 45. After a while, when you start cycling, you will know that whether you do fit that or not, because you will find that there are some bikes that you always think about and going back to it, because it's just so comfortable. I mean, I'm speaking to someone that have multiple bikes. I mean, in my collection, I got like 10 over. I'm in more than 20 bikes now, so I can understand all the different geometry that I have, and I know what I want now. It's very strictly, I know what I want. I adjust my saddle height, I adjust my reach now myself to know that, hey, this is where this is it. And when I go back to the ID match again and they do size it up again, they say, hey, it's very close to what the optimum is. So this is what I'm trying to find. How can we improve even better?
Correct.
How they can combine together? How can biomechanic further enhance what the data from an ID match can? What is important, why I will come to this stage, is I've been through a lot of custom built bikes, and a lot of bike fitter always concentrate one thing, is how much power you can produce on the saddle, but how long can you produce that power? right? But how long can you sustain the power is one thing, but your ride is never been like a 20-30 minutes ride, and you cannot be producing that kind of power for the next 20-30 minutes. You will burn out. But for me, I'm very interested, and I have experienced myself, from what you have been biomechanics are doing, how to pedal, how to make use of your different muscle on the thing, and that actually enables a person to ride longer, faster, and do not sustain injury. I think important thing is about injury, and cycling is, for me, is mechanical. Is the very old, you basically using your muscles. So if you are into it, you better know and do it right. Everyone is different. I cannot be produced 2,000 watts like a pro, because I'm not a pro. But I'm only interested in how can I ride longer,
How can
better.
you become more efficient?
Yes,
Efficiency rating is universal.
yes, correct.
Power rating can change.
Yes.
But efficiency level is universal.
And also very expensive, so not many people will pay.
But,